Graduates of the class of 2012, families, friends, and honored guests, members of the faculty and staff, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 119th commencement exercise of the Stanford Law School. And to the JD, LLM, JSM, and JSD graduates of the class of 2012, congratulations. Before we begin, one piece of advice to those of you in the audience, which I pressed on everyone on the faculty: take off your jackets and ties. It's hot, relax, and don't hesitate to get water in the back if you need it. As is our tradition, we begin the ceremony in the student's own voice with a member of the graduating class whom they've selected, class speaker Maggie Filler. Few students have had as much impact on the law school while here as Maggie. The full list of her activities and achievements is positively daunting. Most notably, Maggie conceived and founded the Stanford Prison Forum, in which students help teach college-level courses to prisoners confined in San Quentin. But Maggie was also involved in the Three Strikes Project, Street Law, Shaking the Foundations, our documentary film project, the National Lawyers Guild, the Alternative Spring Breaks, the law school's public interest and law student mentoring programs, and more. That list of activities, impressive as it is, doesn't really capture Maggie's place at SLS. About a month ago, she received the Deborah L. Rohde Public Interest Award, given to a graduating third-year student for outstanding contributions to public service at the law school. That Maggie had earned this much-deserved recognition goes without saying. What was striking, though, unheard of really, was that Maggie was separately nominated by 4 faculty members, 2 of our alumni, and most telling by 20 of her classmates. What they had to say was more telling still. Maggie was described by different nominators as unique in her ability to inspire others, virtually a force of nature, and one of the most creative, innovative, and dedicated citizens the law school has known. On top of all this, someone wrote, she manages to lead these multiple lives while also being an incredibly poised, humble, pleasant, and good-humored person. I'm told that Maggie kept a handwritten note on her dresser for the 3 years she was in law school to remind herself at all times why she came here. Now that she's leaving, I'm delighted to invite Maggie to the podium to speak to and for you, and maybe to reflect a bit on how that note looks now. Maggie?
Hi. Thank you, Dean Kramer, for that very kind introduction. As you all know, this is Dean Kramer's last graduation as dean here at Stanford Law. He has left an indelible mark on this school, and we are all so honored to be his send-off class. Thank you, Dean Kramer. Good morning, faculty, staff, family, and friends. And hello, Stanford Law School class of 2012. If you're anything like me, you never thought this day would come. But here it is, and here we are. Graduates, you are an incredible group of individuals. Seriously, every time I think about it, it blows my mind. Some of you entered straight out of undergraduate programs because you knew since you were 5 years old that you were going to be lawyers someday. Others of you had already earned doctorate degrees, were lawyers in foreign countries, taught in underserved schools, served in our military, and had whole careers before coming here to Stanford. I am humbled to be the voice of so many individuals today. So, congratulations. Today is our day. I will do my best to uphold my campaign promise and not embarrass you in front of your families. Human beings are molded by people. This graduating class is no exception. You professors, you administrators, you mentors, you mothers, fathers, grandparents, uncles, aunts, siblings, spouses, partners, children, and you great, great friends. You have quite literally made us into the people you see before you today. On behalf of my fellow students, I want to thank you for your endless support of our wildest ambitions, our craziest dreams of us. We are molded by people, but we are also molded by experience. And when I think back on my time at Stanford, there is one experience that stands out. I'm sitting on a bench in Oakland, and I'm waiting for a bus, holding my backpack and my criminal procedure textbook in my lap, and tears are streaming down my face. I'm gulping for air, my body convulsing. I've given up trying to brush the tears away. They're just coming too fast. Slowly, I realize that there's a large group of people also waiting for the bus, but they're not sitting on the bench with me. They're sitting a little bit behind and away, and I realize I appear deranged, but I couldn't care less. This is what it feels like, I think to myself. This, right here on this bench, is what it feels like to lose. The tears are hot, and my face is slick with them. Then a woman comes, and she sits down beside me. She's carrying a little dog in a dog carrier, and she puts that down on the ground between us. She also has 2 bags that are jingling with cans, and she sticks those underneath the bench, too. She's wearing many layers of soiled clothing, so many that her shoulders seem to come up to her earlobes. "You a lawyer?" she asks. I'm a little taken aback. Then I remember the 1,000-page volume marked criminal procedure in my lap. Thank you, Professor Weisberg. Not yet, I respond in between sobs. Still in school. "Well, I need a lawyer," she says. She appears unfazed by my red face and wet cheeks, so unfazed that she seems to think I'm competent to give her legal advice. She tells me her troubles. Her mother was very sick with cancer, and she died several years ago. She believes the people at the hospital didn't give her mother the care she needed and that she deserved, and she'd like to file a lawsuit. Her mother had a life insurance policy that was worth several $1,000s, but neither she nor her sister has been able to collect. And now she's living on the streets. "I'm sorry," I tell her. "That's awful. I wish I could help, but I just lost my first case ever, so I just don't think you want my help." A few more tears slide down my cheeks. "Oh," she asks. "Well, what happened?" And for some reason that I can only explain to you all now as temporary insanity, I overshare. I tell her how my partner, Stuart Lynn, fellow graduate, and I have been working on a case through the clinic at our law school for over a year now. It's the case of a man who was convicted for selling $20 worth of drugs to an undercover police officer. How my client was convicted on the basis of the police officer's testimony that he turned his head left and right. How he was sentenced under California's 3 strikes law, which meant that a term that would have been 3, 4, 5 years was now 25 years to the rest of his life. I tell her how my client had turned to drugs to cope with a severely abusive childhood, and how despite all that, he had an entirely nonviolent record. Finally, I tell her that I woke up this morning and I learned that the court denied our petition to have him resentenced to a lower term of years. And I tell her how I have no idea how I'm going to tell this to my client, to his mother, to his fiancé, and to his son. "You've got to appeal," she says. "You're all he's got. Don't give up on him. You've got to appeal." Her intensity surprises me. The bus arrives, so I stand up to board. "I'm going to appeal," I promised her. I just found out like an hour ago, but I'll appeal. I'll appeal. "Good," she says. "Good." She says, "Something told me to sit down beside you." She says, "And now I know what it was. You've got to appeal." Then she asks for my business card. And I tell her, "I don't have a business card yet. Really, I'm not a lawyer." And I get on the bus. This experience taught me 2 lessons, just 2, that I'd like to share with you, my fellow graduates of Stanford Law. First, being a lawyer is like being a doctor. Everybody is going to want our advice. I've never been a doctor, but I have a friend who's a doctor, and whenever people find out that she's a doctor, they start rolling up their pant legs to show her a weird mole. The next thing she knows, they're reciting their blood pressure results, and even I should admit, I've been guilty of sending her camera phone pictures of a very worrisome bug bite. Like doctors, we too hold keys to a mysterious kingdom. Ours is a kingdom of ancient Latin terminology, writs, ceremonies, and tailored suits. I know of no kingdom more forbidding nor more powerful. Our job is to act as bridges and to communicate across fortified walls. To do this, we need to understand the language both of the powerful and of the disempowered. Because we are key holders, people will open up to us. They will roll up their pant legs, tell us their stories, and if we're good lawyers, they'll tell us their secrets. Sometimes this openness will bring us joy, sometimes sorrow, but always it's an honor. After today, we can no longer cling to the safety blanket of still being students. We need to start printing up our business cards and distribute copies of those keys. Lesson number 2, you've got to appeal. When I found out we lost our case, I had to rethink everything I thought I knew about my worth as a lawyer. In the wise words of the Bobby Fuller 4, I fought the law, and the law won, big time. And all I got was guilt and self-doubt. I had a hard time concentrating on anything except the thought of my client, alone in his cell in the California desert, staring down a life sentence and thinking that I had let him down. I couldn't stop thinking of his mother, his fiancé, and I couldn't stop thinking of his son. The first day was terrible. The second day was terrible. I spent a lot of time thinking about this parable my mother told me about a village where word gets out that the sky is falling. And all the village animals start running around yelling, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling," except for this one little crow. This one little crow who lies down on his back in the middle of the street, and he sticks his legs up, straight in the air. An elephant comes over and asks, "Crow, what are you doing? The sky is falling." And the crow says, "One does what one can." One does what one can. And he's stuck his legs up even straighter. Usually I really like that parable, and I kind of take the crow's words as my motto. One does what one can. But right after I lost that case, I was thinking that crow was a naive moron who was never going to amount to anything. The third day was equally terrible. But the fourth day was better. By the fourth day, I was working on that appeal. I felt a renewed sense of purpose and a healthy indignation at the court. And I began to realize that I desperately needed another measure of professional success, one that does not depend on winning and losing. Of course, we all want the best results for our clients. That's true whether the decision depends on their liberty or their financial security. But we also deserve to feel happy and fulfilled by the work that we do. We won't always win, but we can always treat our clients with dignity and respect. We can behave ethically. Even when we lose, we can appeal. We can make it known that we don't agree with the result. We can assure our clients that we still believe in them and that we're willing to fight for them, even when the legal victory eludes us. After all, one does what one can. So, class of 2012, this is my hope for you, that you find something beyond the winning and losingness of the law to sustain you. In other words, that you find your holding. I once met a former lawyer who told me he didn't remember much of anything from law school. But he's still glad he went because it taught him how to read a case and find the holding. For those non-lawyer family members and loved ones in the audience, the holding is the most important part of the case. It's what the case stands for. All future law depends on the holding. The rest of the decision is simply very eloquent but minimally useful fluff. If we learned nothing else in law school, we learned how to cut to the heart of a case and unearth its holding. So, Stanford Law, find your own holding and hold on. Congratulations and thank you.
Good morning. My name is Christy Ferrioli, and I will be presenting the Dean's Award for Excellence in Service. This award recognizes a graduating student who has made distinctive and exceptional contributions to the legal education or quality of life at Stanford Law School. It is a real honor for me to be able to present this award to my roommate, one of my best friends, Beth Colby. Okay, so I actually have some more to say about Beth, but we can wait till she's up here. It would be an understatement to say that Beth has been actively involved in student leadership while here at Stanford. Over the past 3 years, she has served as her section representative, student leader of the Social Security Disability Pro Bono Project, president of both the Stanford Association of Law Students for Disability Rights and the National Association of Law Students with Disabilities, as well as student body president. Through her gentle and thoughtful leadership, Beth has made Stanford a more inclusive community. She has worked to increase student awareness of disability issues, as well as to improve Stanford's recruitment efforts towards students with disabilities. She transcended cliques, offering everyone she encountered a warm smile, kind ear, and calming perspective. And maybe most importantly, Beth went above and beyond to make sure that everyone here today had a really fun law school experience. Whether by creating new school social events like the Halloween social or open mic night, hosting parties in our apartment, or by simply getting the dance party started at Rudy's. Beth made sure we all knew that law school was not just about work, but also about having some good times with some really great people. Beth, you are one of the most friendly, fun, and inspiring people I know. And I can honestly say that no one's law school experience would have been the same without you. To Beth Colby.
It is my great honor this morning to present the 2012 Staff Appreciation Award to Dean Fay Deal. As many of you know, law school is in many ways a four-year commitment. As we spent that first year making a lot of important decisions, doing a lot of important research, and a lot of less important angst. Dean Deal is the one person who has been a part of our 4 years at Stanford Law School from the very beginning. I imagine that at other schools, the Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid is someone whose students feel close to and frankly quite grateful for at the beginning of their law school experience, but who fairly quickly moves on to welcoming and selecting the next class. But not for Dean Deal, who for 3 years has sat with her door wide open and intimately involved in current student life. I think Admitted Students Weekends in many ways embody why we are choosing to honor Dean Deal here today. We all obviously had fantastic Admitted Students Weekends. That's part of the reason why we came here. But what's far more telling, I think, is that so many of us have chosen to stay involved in Admitted Students Weekends for all 3 years. It's an important event marked on our spring calendars. And that is because of Dean Deal. She fosters a community that is excited to help build and strengthen that community. Dean Deal, we are not presenting this award to you today just because the best phone call we all received in our entire lives came from you in 2008 or 2009, but because we are grateful for the role you have played in our law school experience over the past 4 years. Thank you for never stop welcoming us. I am honored to present the 2012 Staff Appreciation Award to Dean Fay Deal.
Today, I have the honor of presenting the John Bingham Hurlbut Award for Excellence in Teaching to Professor Robert Daines. If you've ever attended one of Professor Daines' corporations classes, it is no secret why our class selected him. In a class that is normally over 70 people, he takes the time to get to know each and every one of his students, where they came from, where they're going, and why they're taking his class. He becomes completely, and forgive the pun, invested in our learning of corporate law. Professor Daines takes teaching the Delaware General Corporation Law, normally just a fairly boring book of statutes, and makes it the most entertaining, memorable, and practical experiences of many of our Stanford careers. I assure you, this is no small feat. From ensuring you understand the tone of Justice Cardozo's seminal opinion in Meinhardt versus Salmon, by having a student engage in a dramatic reading, shouting the opinion from on top of a table, to having Steve Venuto, the lawyer who incorporated Facebook, pretend to be a contrarian student, sitting in the back of his class while Professor Daines lectured, and then shouting out his opinions on what exactly Mark Zuckerberg would have done or what he would have wanted, to organizing meetings with local corporate lawyers so they can help us think through what seemed to be nearly impossible projects that Professor Daines assigned. He spent countless hours ensuring we were challenged and having fun in the learning process. His passion for teaching and dedication to his students makes his classroom and what you learn in it, again, an unforgettable experience. Thank you, Professor Daines, for making our law school experience great. It is with great pleasure that I present the John Bingham Hurlbut Award for Excellence in Teaching to Professor Rob Daines.
Just 10 more minutes.
Dean Kramer, faculty, staff, alums, friends, and relatives, and especially the class of 2012, congratulations. You made it. Mostly, right? In truth, it turns out you still have a few briefs to write, patents to prosecute, clients to win and to fire before you accept your Nobel Prize and Article III tenure and waltz off into the cardinal sunset. But go on, celebrate, you've earned it. Well, to be honest, much of it was actually a gift from your parents, family, and friends, mentors, who helped you get the skills necessary to come here and do well. And as for the material means, that was actually largely a gift from generous alums in a growing economy. And you also bask here today in the genius, good looks, witty charm, and reputation of your fellow students who make you look good. But still, you did your part, and it was a big part, and you ought to enjoy it and celebrate, although you might want to say thanks to the people who helped get you here. Since we assemble here dressed today in robes and hats originally modeled on an ancient clergy, it's only appropriate that I begin today with a confession. And here it is. I am very fond of you, and I will really miss you. Teaching you and getting to know you has been the most rewarding and important part of my professional life at Stanford these past 3 years, and I know that's true for many of my colleagues. I will miss you in these halls and on these lawns. Stanford is a wonderful place. It's a world-class university at the heart of Silicon Valley, outstanding, ambitious faculty and staff. I forget how many Nobel Prize winners we have on campus. I lose track. We have the Thai food lady, the redwoods, the best facilities in the country, the weather, generous alums, the weather, all gorgeous. But the real jewel of this school and this university is you. You are a wonderful group of men and women. In truth, actually, a few of you are a pain in the neck. And if you don't know who you are, ask around. Your classmates do. But as a group, you are the best this country and this world has to offer. But enough about you, let's talk about me. I sing your praise in part, of course, because I admitted you. You were the first class as chair of admissions, and so naturally you're all brilliant and, let's be honest, a cut above the other classes. I read your essays and the stories of how you jumped out of airplanes, volunteered in shelters, saved small countries and large classrooms, and Faye and I fell for you and you got in. So it's only fair that you voted for me, and that was part of the original deal we made, and I'm glad you recognize that implicit contract. Thank you. However, I didn't think it was part of the bargain that you would make me talk at graduation. That's unfortunate for all of us, I've got to say. Because as Billy Collins and others have noted, this is a tricky genre. It's an honor to be asked, sure, but it also puts me in the strange position of trying to offer sage advice to you and a group of relative strangers, not to mention your stranger relatives. For a while, I thought of doing something like commencement karaoke, where you would all take turns coming up here and offering your own speech. That would have been memorable. But in the end, I listened to George Fisher, the Andrew Luck of these teaching awards. He said that I should talk about something that I learned from teaching corporate law and raising 5 kids. He thought these twin trials of corporate law and my family would give me a unique perspective, and so I'm going to follow his advice. First, let me say that you start your career with enormous assets, a Stanford legal education, the goodwill and support of your classmates, your own talents, and perhaps most importantly, your drive to succeed and to do good. I recently read many of your old admissions essays, marked a few up, and I'll hand them to you later. But I was genuinely moved by your idealism and your desire to matter and to do something good in this world and to be part of something valuable. One of you wrote, probably for most of us, of that ambition and the associated fear, that, quote, that big fear, the fear of being inconsequential. Today I want to talk to you about this desire to succeed and the drive to matter. It's noble, it's praiseworthy, it's laudable, it's brought you here, and it will lead you to yet do many great and wonderful things in this world. But I want to warn you that there are a few risks that come with this drive. The desire to be on the inside of important causes and important firms can lead you to make predictable mistakes that, if you're not careful, will leave you and those you love unhappy. And I hope it's not bad form to talk about happiness here at Stanford. We spent 3 years and countless hours preparing you for professional success and giving you the tools to change the world. We've charged you plenty for it. But before you go, maybe it's okay to stop for a minute and talk about how to be happy while you do it. So first, a little law. Several years ago, just as you were polishing off your law school applications, Microsoft approached the board of directors of Yahoo with a remarkable offer. They offered to pay Yahoo shareholders $50 billion, roughly 50% more than the shares were worth at the time. Yahoo's board of directors need only to sign the merger agreement. Now, since they wouldn't actually they wouldn't be needed after the merger, they would also effectively resign their positions, hand over the keys to the boardroom, and shareholders would get $50 billion. They didn't do it. They resisted. They stuck to their guns and their jobs, and they resisted the offer. Microsoft withdrew the offer, and Yahoo shareholders lost billions of dollars. It's now worth less than a third of what Microsoft offered years ago. Why did the board of directors resist such a valuable offer? I don't know. It's easy to spin a story of self-interest. They were so concerned about their own salaries and stock options that they ignored their duties to shareholders. But I don't believe that's why they did it. I don't believe they made this decision because it lined their own pockets. I think they were likely honorable men and women who were generally scrupulous about their duties, even when it cost them money. But I do think they made an expensive error. And unless I'm badly mistaken, it's an error that many of us here today will make in the future. I think the mistake they made is not that they put wealth over duty. I'm not going to give you the don't focus on money, be careful about money speech. It's more likely, I think, that they harmed shareholders and missed out on this offer because they liked being involved in something important. They liked running a company and wanted to make a difference, to be consequential, to be in charge and in the inner ring. Maybe they turned it down because they wanted to matter personally and feared being inconsequential. Now, obviously, the desire to matter and to make a difference is not noble in law, but just as boards do real harm to shareholders when they focus on their own role and job satisfaction, you may find along the way that your desire to contribute, to be recognized, and to be consequential will lead you to neglect valuable but less immediately urgent goals, relationships, partners, family, and friends, and that this will leave you and the ones you love unhappy. And this is true, by the way, for all of you. It's not just about money. This applies to the public interest types who are not going to be in it for the cash. We're all subject to these same risks and desires. I leave it to you to decide whether somebody can be truly happy if they reform prisons and right a string of wrong precedent, but make a mess of their relationships with friends and family. If they argue brilliantly and frequently in court, but too often with their family. If politicians and reporters return their calls, but their own children won't talk to them. As for me, I believe that no success will compensate for my failure in these important relationships. But it's not always easy to remember this. I remember my first years of teaching and trying to get tenure. They were a blur of anxiety, antacid, and late-night fights with bad data and worse drafts. I just left a demanding job on Wall Street where I worked for an investment bank called Goldman Sachs in its pre-Vampire Squid days. But I enjoyed research, and I soon found that I was working much harder as a new professor than I had as an investment banker. I became totally absorbed with my work. I was often with my friends and family physically, but mentally, I was fretting about my research. When friends or family would come talk to me, instead of being happy to see them, I would get a pit in my stomach, and my leg would start bouncing up and down, anxious to get back to work. Luckily, some people helped me. Larry Kramer, of all people, he pulled me aside and said I was working too hard and that I needed to focus on relationships. But I didn't change much. So one day while I was working at home in my office, my wife came to talk to me about some concern she had. I don't remember what it was. I maybe didn't know then. But I remember feeling in a hurry to get back to work, and I know that I looked away from her and back to my computer screen one too many times. So exasperated, she said, well, if you're so concerned about your work, I'm going to make sure that you can focus on it and nothing disturbs you. And she walked out, slammed the door, went and found a padlock, and locked me in my office. Seriously, I couldn't get out. Now, luckily, I had just gone to the bathroom, and I had a stash of Girl Scout cookies hidden in my office. Some things are too important to be left trusted to the kitchen, so I was okay. But I spent the better part of that day locked there in my office, much to the delight of neighbors who happened by. Now, I tell you this story because here, sitting surrounded by friends, family, partners, and supporters, you would probably say that you value and you cherish these relationships. You'd pass a written test on this. That's what you do. But being true to these relationships and these people that you love is not going to be easy, especially because you are so driven to succeed and to make a difference and to avoid seeming, if only to yourself, inconsequential. And 4 things are going to make it especially difficult for you with your drive. The first is that you're going to have a lot of interesting opportunities in life. Even though you may secretly harbor doubts now, you will be offered exciting clerkships, professorships, partnerships, judgeships. All manner of ships will be yours. And the allure of these opportunities will make it harder to spend time with friends and family, to do volunteer work that you value. Second, you are all walking into institutions, a second challenge. You are all walking into institutions bristling with high-powered incentives and monitoring mechanisms, primed to give you immediate feedback on your job and help you stay focused on the success of the organization. This is true for firms and for institutions and governments that you work for. They offer potent encouragement, partnership, praise, promotion, and pride, and some of them will offer the knowledge that you are doing righteous work. This can be exciting. It can also be a problem. It can be a problem because usually the most important relationships and commitments in your life and the people that you care about do not have similar built-in incentive and monitoring mechanisms to tell you how you're doing. You will probably not get annual reviews from your loved ones and friends. Unless I miss my guess, your children, family, partners, and friends will not send you monthly reports on how many hours you've spent with them year to date, and on whether you are meeting, exceeding, or falling below expectations. If they are, you're in serious trouble. We should talk afterwards. In fact, not only will they not monitor you like your jobs will, but because they love you, they will support you, and they will encourage you to do well and to work hard, and they will sacrifice you for you. And so you may sacrifice them. If you're not very careful, you will go too long neglecting these important relationships, and it can happen without you noticing it. Years ago, newly liberated from my office prison, I went to the movies and left my oldest son in charge of the children for the first time. He'd finally gotten old enough to babysit, so my wife and I took advantage of this. We celebrated, we went out to the movies, and we left my oldest son watching the other 4 sleeping children. It was great. But when I returned home, I was greeted with smoke and this awful, horrifying, unmistakable smell of an electrical fire. I thought of my sleeping children, and I raced around the house looking for the fire and my son. And I found him lounging on the couch reading The Economist. Obviously, we didn't have any TV. Hey, I yelled, "What's going on? Don't you smell that?" "Sure," he languidly replied. I looked around for a little while, and I didn't see anything. And you know what? It's irritating at first, but you get used to it. Well, everything turned out okay. My 2-year-old had turned on a wall unit air conditioner, and it started a small electrical fire. We put it out, but we didn't go out again for a long time after that. But I've learned that in things that really matter, my son had it exactly right. If you only look a little, you will not see anything wrong in your personal relationships. You'll miss the disappointments, the shared experiences, and the chances to build trust. And after a while, you know what? You'll get used to it. Even when the stakes are high, you may miss signs of serious trouble. There'll be slight irritations at first, but you'll get used to disappointing those you love. Third, there's a third reason why strivers like you are vulnerable and may end up ignoring the most important commitments and relationships in their life. Success-oriented, driven people like to make a difference. You want to count for something. You like checking off things off your list. It feels good and it's fun. This may lead you, though, if you're not careful, to focus on tasks that you can quickly succeed on and that you can measure your success quickly. This feels good. So you might focus on projects like briefs and billable hours where you can produce observable results and feel successful in the short run. But relationships with family and friends, peace of mind, a life of service and faith, real friendships, and if you have children, raising a family, will take thousands of hours of work that produce no discernible, immediately visible difference. If you are not careful, your desire for success and short-term measurable progress will lead you to ignore, predictably, those you care about. One last warning. The desire to be on the inside and involved in important work may also lead you to compromise your ethical standards. You and I, and it must be said, our profession, are susceptible to the subtle charms of bending rules as part of an informed elite. As much to that as we are to the blatant financial corruption. I was actually once, while on Wall Street, offered an enormous bribe to help participate in a transaction that would have involved some secret payments to a corrupt government ruler. I turned that down, even though it was fabulous wealth right at my fingertips. I actually found that very easy to turn down. But how many ethical or moral or legal breaches are ultimately caused, not by greed, but by the fear of being excluded from some valuable group, assignment, or circle, by the fear of being laughed at or worse, ignored by objecting because you object to a questionable practice. So there you have it. Target managers sometimes harm others and miss out on valuable opportunities because they want to be personally involved in something important. They will later insist that their actions are misunderstood and that they knew better all along, but in the end they will harm the shareholders they promised and want to serve. Today, I've tried to suggest that you and I are no different. You have goals. You want to succeed personally and professionally. You want to be happy and accomplished. You want to change the world and have meaningful relationships with those you love. However, even if your intentions are good and noble, if you are not careful, you will neglect personal relationships, family, friends, partners, and relatives. And that will be a costly mistake. None of you want to come here later at reunions with fewer friends or frayed family relationships, but unless you are very careful, many of us will. Now, we're out of time, and so as typical in law school, I'm just going to spot the issue, and I'm going to leave you to discuss this solutions later. Now, speaking of success in relationships, I want to say one last thing about our dean, Larry Kramer. When I first met Larry, he looked absolutely nothing like he does today. He had a goatee, he had a long ponytail, an earring, torn jeans, big clunky biker boots that dripped with chains, and a dog. I've got pictures actually on my iPhone. Come see me later and I'll show you. He was the one who hired me when I started teaching at NYU. Now, he cleaned up before moving west and becoming dean. And he has absolutely poured his heart and soul into our school, you graduates, and this job, and I'm sad to see him leave. I've been lucky to work with great deans. I was a student at Yale when Guido Calabresi was dean. He was a legend. When Larry hired me at NYU, John Sexton was dean. And like no one else before him, John Sexton raised the profile and quality of his school. Larry belongs on this short list of remarkable deans. We've been lucky to have him here, and we will all sorely miss him. Well, actually, you're going away. Those of us who stay will miss him worse. He's selflessly and unrelentingly worked to transform this school. He's cajoled and pushed and prodded. Annoyingly, he thinks he knows everything. And worse, he's sometimes right. We are all indebted to him. So I hope you'll join me in offering one last thank you to Dean Kramer. So that's it. Do good, succeed marvelously, be happy and succeed professionally and personally. Make Stanford proud. Because for the rest of your long and happy career, you will bear the stamp, the brand, the blaze of the Stanford Law School. Thank you.
Honor to introduce you to the members of the class of 2012. Will the candidate for the degree of Doctor of the Science of Law please come forward? She brought her own entourage because she's the only one getting this degree. Julia Shamir. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of the Science of Law please come forward? Abhinav Dhananjaya Chandrachud. Silky Noah Kampf. Estefania Isabella Molina Unger. Ana Cristina Nunez Machado. Bernardo Pulido Marquez. Fernan Restropo Cardona. Peter Richard Slowinski. Tamor Sumrao. Elva Denise Varela Olivas. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws, Corporate Governance and Practice please come forward? Fernando Barnides Boniolo Ziziote. Karen Birgitta Bertelsen. Cindy Chien. Raphael Cox-Mont. Pooja Mukesh Garg. Sifei Han. Andrew Paul Heather. Shusako Iwasaki. Jiwon Kang. Gustavo Lorenzo Quitiero. Guilherme Malik Parente. Emiko Ogino. Florian Yokan Spaeth. Naoko Takasaki. Jingyi Shu. Tomoki Yanagisawa. Pia Maria Zottel. I now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws, International Economic Law, Business and Policy. Lee Kai. Ahmed Abd El Tawab El Sisi. Ricardo Ferreira Pastore. Helena Meyer-Zecker. Togo Nakamura. Rahul Rai. Natalia Rezvantseva. Jeffrey Hosea Senduk. Slibby. Maria Lorena Slibby Acela. Marcelo Maciel Torres Filo. Tuche Urlu. Tomohiro Yamazaki. Lin Yang. Bo Yu. I now present the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws, Law, Science, and Technology. Ranjini Acharya. Nikolai Lund-Bording. Yan Kai. Amir Freund. Toby Edward Footer. Claudio Gabay. Rubens Granja. In-Sang Kim. Lital Leichtag Fuchs. Mitsuaki Matsumura. Congratulations. Anna Mayarova. Congratulations. Kritika Dutta Narayana. Suzanne Nosoi Peterson. Matthias Rothkopf. Simona Louisa Shub. Karen Stobiecki. Larry, is there anybody left? I don't think so. Okay. I'd like to present to you now the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Jurisprudence. Jonathan Philip Abel. Adelino Rosa Viviana Acuna. Veronica Maria Arambide Alegria. Julia Lees Allen. Thank you. Alexander Burgess Matheson Aronson. Blythe Parker Austin. Tori Bolliff. Richard Earl Barbour II. Congratulations. Shannon Barnard. Congratulations. Ann Golden Bursigal. Congratulations. James Norman Bierman Jr. Congratulations. Claire Elizabeth Borthwick. Ashley Bowman. Christopher Brumwell.
Congratulations.
Susan Elizabeth Buckner. Amy Knight Burns.
Congratulations.
Matthew Thomas Cagle. Joel Cazares.
Congratulations.
Andrea Udija Chandrasekhar.
Congratulations.
Julia Beth Churlo.
Congratulations.
Christopher Brooks Cole.
Congratulations.
Diana Marie Connor. Daniel Lawrence Corbett. Krista Lee Culver.
Congratulations.
Emily Claire Curran. Is it Bridget or Bridget? Bridget Colleen DeCourcy. Ellie Dagan.
Congratulations.
Wyatt James Delfino.
Congratulations.
Jaime Dornbaum.
Congratulations.
Brian Patrick Eggleston.
Congratulations.
Rose Lida Ehler.
Congratulations.
Elizabeth Ann Espinoza.
Congratulations.
Matthew Daniel Hogan Easer. Lily Tong Xing Fang.
Congratulations.
Christy Ann Ferrioli.
Congratulations.
Marian Angela Fielding.
Congratulations. Great speech.
Maggie Ellen Filler. Laura Elizabeth Finley.
Congratulations.
Eric Stanton Fleekop.
Congratulations.
Patrick Norton Flynn.
Congratulations.
Laura Fong.
Congratulations.
Ethan Clark Forrest.
Congratulations.
James Isidore Friedman.
Congratulations.
Melena Rose Friedman.
Congratulations.
Ariel Avram Freilich. Emmanuel Fua. Daniel Antonio Galindo. Adrian Garcia.
Congratulations.
Joel Robert Garcia.
Wait.
Jennifer Marie Gibson. Brian Mack Goldsmith.
Congratulations.
Justin Michael Gonzalez.
Congratulations.
Marin Christine Novinger Grant.
Congratulations.
Samuel Isaac Gray.
Congratulations.
Ronnie Gupta.
Congratulations.
Carl Besser Harris. Albert M. Ho.
Congratulations.
Jennifer Amelia Holmes.
Congratulations.
Christina Marie Holstedge. Atticus Honore. Holly Campbell Horrell.
Congratulations.
Norman Tana Hovijit.
Congratulations.
Anne Chantaline Shea. Catherine Kane Hudson. Jennifer Ann Ingram. Eli Matthew Isaacs.
Congratulations.
William Buchanan Jackson.
Congratulations.
William Ames Jacobson.
Congratulations.
Is it Felicia? Corinne Felicia Johnson. Meredith Ann Johnson. William Emmanuel Johnston.
Congratulations.
Cheryl Mildred Joseph. Paisley Lynn Caddison.
Congratulations.
Kent Allen Kiersey.
Congratulations.
Brian John Kelly.
Congratulations.
Theodore Max Kiter. Jane Nari Kim. David Morgan Kinsella. Stephanie Roddy Klitsch. Jennifer Ann Kogler. Elizabeth Ann Colby. Adam Michael Kuhl. Emily Diane Koronek.
Okay.
Piotr Edward Korzinski.
Congratulations.
Melinda Lee Coster. Sao Kai Kwok. Emily Claire Laborde. Stephanie Lindsay Lake.
Congratulations.
Timothy Ting Ming Lau. Gabriel Morris Ledeen. Ju Hyun Lee. Jonathan Barlow Leland. Sian Ikema Lencho.
Marag.
Shira Marag Levine. Daniel Russell Lewis. Clinton Matthew Light. Hannah Ashley Lammers Johnson. Stuart Philip Lynn. Timothy Wade Malone. Clinton Joel Martin. Blake Gates Masters.
Congratulations.
Briggs James Matheson. Colin Patrick McDonald. Andrew Lawrence McElroy. Catherine Blake McFarland. Emma Laughlin Mediac.
Congratulations.
Craig Smith Mention.
Congratulations.
Kevin James Mills. Amy Rachel Motomura. Brian Miguel Murdoch.
Congratulations.
Emily Rose Murphy.
No, you are the one that's here for. Congratulations.
Beth Christine Neitzel. Catherine Mary McCann Newhall.
Congratulations.
Kelly Ann Newman. Kyle Allen Nemi. Gregory Thomas Nolan.
Congratulations.
Jacques Michel Entoma.
Congratulations.
Carl Douglas Owens, Jr. Thomas Richard Pack.
Congratulations.
Daniel Thompson Payne.
Congratulations.
Laura Palangian. Daniel Marcus Perkins. Robert Parker Polson.
Congratulations.
Braden John Powell.
Congratulations. It's two, right? Oh.
Andrew Giovanni Prout.
Congratulations.
Thomas Edward Quinn. Julia Rabinovich.
Congratulations. Mrs. Reagan. Reagan.
Holly Elizabeth Reagan.
Congratulations.
Deepika Hamsini Ravi. Michelle Bahar Reeves. Nicholas Woods William Reed. Aviva Haro Reinfeld. Harrison James Reynolds. Charles Harker Rhodes IV. Peter Jeffrey Richmond. Samuel Roberge.
Congratulations.
Ashley Marie Rogers.
Congratulations.
Daniel Beltran Rojas. Ashley Marie Romero. Sarah Elizabeth Rowe.
Congratulations.
Daisy Sanchez.
Congratulations.
Monisha Santa Maria. Hannah Elizabeth Shearer.
Look at you.
Ethan Siller and Zoe. Ashley Todd Sims.
Congratulations.
Barbara Ann Smith.
Congratulations.
Noah Smith Drellick.
Congratulations.
Peter Charlton Squarey.
Congratulations.
Elizabeth Mary Stamoulis.
Congratulations.
Edward Hanaway Stieglitz.
Congratulations.
Stephen Chen Sivarud.
Congratulations.
Robert Edmund Shakovny.
Congratulations.
Michael Douglas Tamkin.
Congratulations.
Stephanie Mercedes Tennant. Jordan Daniel Tatey.
Congratulations. That's all you.
Will Bennett Thompson. Christopher Michael Terrell. Catherine Marie Traverso. Benjamin Joseph Traeger. Sue Wong. Alexander William Weber. Daniel Darwin Welsh.
Congratulations.
Eric John Wengreen.
Congratulations.
Christopher Page Wilson.
Congratulations.
Kyle William Wislocki.
Congratulations.
Khalil Lee Withen.
Congratulations.
Robert Mark Woodward.
Congratulations.
Megan Janae Warman.
Congratulations.
Charles Wysong.
Congratulations.
Ozan Yalti.
Congratulations.
Yu Yao.
Congratulations.
Ha Yan Yoon.
Congratulations.
Yuan Michelle Yuan.
Congratulations.
Philip Reagan. See, I went to the last one. Philip Reagan Ziegler. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Stanford Law School class of 2012.
So believe it or not, you're almost done, and all that remains is our final charge. Relax, not that kind of charge. Today, I thought that might get a hiss this year, but today we charge you in an altogether different manner. For as we confer your degree, we entrust you with the task and assign you a responsibility. The task and the responsibility are straightforward and can be simply stated. We charge you to use your training well and to make a difference for the better. The world is deeply troubled, and that's not boilerplate commencement talk. Things feel different, to me at least. The scope and scale of our problems seems greater today, and the most daunting of these problems seems more daunting, certainly, than at any time in my life. Whatever side of the political divide you're on, challenges like energy, health care, the national debt, joblessness, international peace and stability, and more are huge, and they require a seriousness of purpose and a willingness to take action that the world's current feckless leadership is apparently unable to muster. So you must do better. Fortunately, if history teaches us anything, it's that great challenges bring great opportunities, which means you leave here with opportunities to make a difference that are rare. So we say to you, rise to the challenge, be ambitious, take chances, do something that makes the world a better, safer place. I could actually end here, because there's not much more to our charge than that. Some of you, sitting in the hot sun, probably wish that I would. I notice everybody's moved back into the shade. I don't want to send you off, though, with nothing more than this simple, time-worn, albeit important refrain. I've made it a practice to write a fresh speech for each graduation, to find some angle, something to say that's unique for each graduating class and that captures its moment in some meaningful way. But while this year's speech is new, it nevertheless replicates a theme and repeats some ideas from last year. Now, I didn't have to tell you that. None of you was there, after all. And I could easily have gone ahead with no one the wiser, except for the faculty, and I'm not sure they always listen anyway. So you may wonder, why do I mention it? Because, as I hope you'll understand, the fact that last year's topic is still relevant is indeed more relevant, is itself germane to the point I hope to make. Last year, I spoke about the deterioration of public discourse, and in particular, the waning of reasoned empathy in political debate. By reasoned empathy, I meant a habit of mind that we try to teach you here because it is, in fact, central to being an effective lawyer. Namely, the ability to understand, and I mean to truly comprehend, that when people disagree, there are always arguments on both sides, and people on both sides genuinely believe their point of view to be both reasonable and right. It's a grave mistake, and one I implore you not to make, to assume that people who disagree with you really know that they are wrong and you are right, but have some evil or self-interested motive for pretending otherwise. On the contrary, they almost certainly find their positions authentic and convincing, and for reasons that, at least when they are shared by large numbers of people, probably have something to them, something you need to understand before you can be sure about your own position. I single out this quality of reasoned empathy and repeat it because I think it has never been more important or more absent than today, and things are getting worse. We live in an age of ideology, a time when for too many of us, but especially for political leaders, facts are determined and controlled by pre-existing ideological commitments rather than the reverse, and a genuine exchange of ideas has practically ceased. You see this all around you, in the politicization of science, in the way public officials dismiss evidence that conflicts with their preconceived beliefs by attributing conclusions they don't like to corrupt motives. We see it in the emergence and now dominance of media with overt political agendas, and the growing audiences these media attract as people confine themselves to information sources that dependably tell them what they already want to hear. We see it in the increasing willingness of office holders to say things without actually caring whether or not they are true. Most worrisome, we see it in the perpetual campaign that now passes for governing. It used to be that once an election was over, political advisors moved to the sidelines. There was breathing space between elections, time for elected officials from both parties to leave the grandstands, for a while at least, and work together, the minority fighting to have a say and not simply to obstruct the majority, knowing that when its turn came, it would get the same consideration. That's no longer true. The distinction between policy and politics has collapsed. What is true has increasingly become what those who share an ideology want to be true, with no quarter given or taken. Nor for anyone out there who thinks I am talking only about conservatives or only about liberals, is this tendency confined to one side or the other. For if one side has been worse, both have been bad enough. Nor, finally, for all the international students, am I speaking only about the United States, and we see a similar incapacity to govern in Europe and many other parts of the world. Democratic politics is failing, and none of our leaders is willing to take responsibility. It's the other side that's at fault, the other side that's not just wrong but dishonest, which means its positions can be ignored, indeed must be ignored. These developments matter because they undercut the fundamental precondition for democratic government in any complex society, that it be a community of individuals who, because they inevitably will disagree on important matters, are willing to reconsider their stances and to compromise based on respectful discussion with people who believe differently. I recently read a collection of speeches by the Attorney General of the United States. Among other things, he lamented how people on both sides of the political divide have become so preoccupied with playing tit for tat that politics has become simultaneously overheated and ineffectual, a process he noted is exacerbated by new forms of communication that emphasize the immediate event and tend to make of discussion the declaration of opinions suggesting that the complexity of a problem is always the result of bad motives. The Attorney General who made these comments was not Eric Holder, by the way. It was Edward Levy, Gerald Ford's Attorney General, speaking in 1975. The mid-'70s were a difficult time in politics, not unlike today. After reaching a high point of prosperity and power in the mid-1960s, the country had suffered one crisis after another: the souring of the civil rights movement and the riots that followed, a catastrophically failed war in Vietnam, recession, inflation, our first energy crisis, and the abrupt rotting of a counterculture movement that seemingly overnight turned from the Fab Four in Woodstock into the Manson family in Altamont. I am assuming you guys know what I'm referring to. I know your parents do. Above all, though, there was Watergate. The passage of years seems to have softened the edges of the Watergate scandal, causing us to forget how truly demoralizing it was when it happened. In part, that's because we've seen even worse government misconduct since Nixon resigned, while his strengths have actually come to look better in retrospect. But at the time, Watergate was a shattering event. It wasn't just the breadth and depth of Nixon's wrongdoing, though it did sometimes seem as if criminal misconduct pervaded every part of his administration. It was also the sleazy quality of it all those expletive deleteds and White House plumbers and CREEP, which again for the students was the Committee to Re-elect the President, an acronym only Richard Nixon could have adopted. One result was that political debate in the mid-1970s grew extremely acrimonious, though nowhere near as ugly as today. Another was that public faith in government reached what seemed to be an all-time low, though here too we've managed to outdo our predecessors by a very considerable margin. Many of Levy's speeches sought to counter these developments and rebuild the confidence of the American people, not just in the particular agencies of government that had failed, but in our constitutional system generally. And as his diagnosis of the problem suggests, much of what Levy had to say is still relevant. The cure he proposed for the nation's ills, one I urge you to embrace as you leave here, is in some sense obvious, but no less difficult for that. We must begin, Levy said, by putting ourselves to the test of finding out what is wrong with what we think, an unsettling, a disconcerting, at times a most unwelcome pursuit of knowledge. We should do so, he continued, because government by discussion requires mutual respect. It requires mutual understanding. It requires a culture held in common, a culture not unitary but composed of many differences. The base for understanding must be built and rebuilt over time. Which brings me back to the idea of reasoned empathy. We need to understand those whose views differ from ours. We need to apprehend how and why they believe as they do, and we need to work with them. Compromise is not at odds with values in a democratic society. On the contrary, compromise is one of such a society's paramount values. It reflects respect for the responsibility of others and recognition of the need, the unavoidable need, for flexibility and reconciliation of competing interests, ideas, beliefs, and commitments. Nor can mutual respect be reserved only for the substance of our disagreements, not if we're in this for the long run. Andre Malraux wrote that a civilization can be defined at once by the questions it asks and by those it does not ask. But we should add one more item to Malraux's list, namely the tone in which a society asks and answers its questions, for the tone can be just as important. It may be that mutual affection is too much to ask, but compromise will not suffice unless concession and conciliation are accompanied at least by mutual acceptance of the good faith of those with whom we are working. In one of his last speeches, Levy talked to an audience of lawyers about their special responsibilities for making democratic politics work, a lesson as necessary in 2012 as it was in 1976. Behind the courts and behind the legislatures, he said, are the influential mechanisms of society that set or distort the debate and that enlighten or by a delight in induced or assumed antagonism cheapen every discussion so that immediate reaction is never troubled by a later thought. These are harsh words, too harsh perhaps, but the freedom our society has given places a responsibility, particularly upon our profession, to clarify the issues, and not in a spirit of antagonists or adversaries. So an enlightened public will understand not the catchwords, not the chosen disagreements, but the basic issues which are involved. If one believes in a government by reason or discussion, the victory comes when there is understanding. The problems we have are not easily solved, but a beginning is made when they are understood. This is, of course, much to ask, but it has a great deal to do with the role of our country if it is to continue to be the best hope in government for mankind. Take that thought with you as you leave. Make understanding our problems the place where you begin your new lives as citizen lawyers. Then help solve them. This is the hard part. So we didn't begin our time at Stanford together, but we will, as you know, end that way. And though today is your day and not mine, I hope you'll forgive me if I close with a few personal reflections. A member of our community recently asked for my help with something. He did so sheepishly, reluctant to bother me because he said I undoubtedly had more important demands on my time. I answered that I was happy to help, just as he would have been had our situations been reversed. The truth is that if anything, Life affords most of us too few occasions to help others in meaningful ways. And one of the best things about being dean has been the countless opportunities the position has presented to me in that regard. In ways both large and small, I've had the chance as dean, the privilege to do things for others and to become part of their lives, things I could do only because I was the dean, with access by virtue of the office to resources I would not otherwise have had. The ways I could help have been more varied than you might think, not just school-related matters, but helping people find jobs, get access to medical care, launch companies, make films, deal with personal tragedies. They've ranged from the profound experience of helping a young woman diagnosed with terminal cancer at the end of her 3rd year make the most of her last months, to getting a faculty member the desk chair he wanted. The fact that most nights I could go home knowing I'd been able to do something that day that made someone's life better has been a very special thing. It made being dean a joy, and I could wish nothing more or better for all of you than that you find careers that offer you similar satisfaction. That said, the best thing about the last 8 years has been the opportunity to lead and be part of this very wonderful community. I want to offer a few thoughts about the kind of community it is. You've probably heard me say some of this before, but this is my last chance to play a role in defining who we are. And these are not just things I think Stanford is, they are things I think it should be, and things I want it to be. Stanford is a community that values collaboration over competition, a community in which the successes of any are and are felt as the successes of all. It's a generous community and a supportive community, a kind community in which I have witnessed people extend themselves for others in exceptional and unexpected ways over and over again. Stanford is at the same time a community that prizes excellence and holds its people to the highest standards of achievement and ethical conduct. We expect our faculty, our staff, our students, and our alumni, whom you will join in about 5 minutes, to reach for the sky and to accomplish extraordinary things. But we don't have a narrow definition of what that means. One of Stanford's most distinctive qualities is its openness to the many forms of excellence that may be achieved in law. Our faculty is unlike the faculties of most top schools in the way it embraces many kinds of work, from normative scholarship to clinical teaching, from sophisticated empirical work to direct engagement with the profession and the world outside the academy. One of the most important realizations I had upon arriving here was that every single member of this faculty makes valuable contributions to the school and the world, contributions that need to be supported and appreciated and cherished for what they add. So too our students. We're not a school that values some careers more than others, and part of our strength is the enormously varied ambitions our students bring. We are not and do not want to be a place where everyone wants to be an academic, or everyone wants to be a Supreme Court justice, or a big firm lawyer, or a public interest lawyer, or even a lawyer at all. We're a place of people who want to be all those things, and the resulting mix of attitudes and aspirations is an important part of our culture. Stanford is a place that prizes risk-taking and values new ways of doing things. We are quintessentially part of Silicon Valley. Of course, everyone today boasts about how innovative and entrepreneurial they are, catchphrases that have become so overused that by now it's a cliche even to call them cliches. But Stanford Law School has long been a genuine innovator in legal education and an incubator for creative people. We encourage our students and faculty to take chances and try new things. It's a quality encoded in the school's DNA, and one I hope we've passed on to you. Finally, Stanford is part of the West, not mired in traditions or tied to other people's definitions of success and prestige. I meant what I said when you got here about not making the pursuit of gold stars the measure of your achievements in life. And I felt enormous pride and satisfaction watching so many of you take that advice to heart. I hope you do so throughout your careers, and I'm certain you'll lead happier lives if you do. At the end of the day, though, it's not the institution or the culture or the community in some abstract sense that has made being at Stanford special. It's the people. The chance to get to know and work with the many singular and singularly interesting and creative characters that populate this place that I've loved most about being here. This includes everyone I've had the chance to work with, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, and of course our students. So many people, so many individuals make Stanford the vibrant, exciting, embracing place that it is. There will, I hope, be other times and places to express my gratitude to the faculty and staff whose support and goodwill have been more than I or anyone could possibly have hoped for or deserved. For now, since this is your day, let me just say this, and I want to echo something Rob said. I think you're all amazing. I honestly do. You're creative, passionate, and brilliant. You're earnest and sincere and driven by such good intentions. Best of all, you're always surprising. As dean, I spent a great deal of time with alumni, which is to say with the students of the past. I got to see the countless different ways in which they went on to do remarkable things. I got to hear firsthand the countless different ways in which they surpassed us, their former teachers. I love that our graduates go on to surpass us. I love even more that the time they spent here played an important part in shaping who they became and what they accomplished. We get you now, while you're still young, still forming your values and ideals and making the plans that will shape your future. The privilege of teaching is the privilege of having a role in that process. I'm honored to have had that role and can say only that I tried my best, both as a teacher and as dean, to be worthy of it. You are the remarkable alumni of our future, and I can't wait to see what you do. So please, make us proud. Make your families proud. Most of all, make yourselves proud. Good luck, and I wish you all happy and wonderful lives. Thank you.